Welcome back to the Two Thrones. So, let's keep moving and see where we go from here.
Yeah, let's get
To
moving.
where will I go from here?
Are you all right?
He has escaped. And you? What of the troops?
Dead. All dead.
Fantastic.
But I saw the Vizier, or whatever it is he's become. He flew towards the palace.
Then we know where to go.
All right.
That hair
Well,
motion.
Yeah, so basically we need to find a way to let her progress
I
just as
understand
much
the
as we
principles
do.
of courtesy, but I think you take things a bit too far.
So, again, the dark side does not agree with us, but whatever.
When does the dark side ever agree? Remember,
Yeah,
Zod's furious retaliation.
I think the dark side doesn't realize how much of a lonely, gloomy Gus he's gonna be if he keeps up that attitude.
Oh,
Like,
you will learn, Jova, don't worry.
let's be honest, he tries to act like he's cool, but compared to how he and the prince we all know and like would act, let's see. One has better bedside manner, one has better connections, one does a better job making friends, one does a better job actually, maintaining a relationship with the one he loves, as opposed to just being all dickish like that. Oh yeah, and it's all not the dark side. Like, hey, newsflash, not all girls go for the bad boys.
There we go.
So, at the time, free has come and passed. Tia, what are your thoughts on
Yeah,
Ubisoft's
E3
direction right
2018.
now?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Tia, what are your thoughts on Ubisoft and their direction as of now?
I mean, it's not as bombastic as it would have been last year, but again, it's still solid enough, even though, again, there are not a lot of the things that I was hoping they would have happened, like, again, a resurgence of this franchise or another UbiArt engine game. And yes, I agree, we're still a bit too much Tom Clancy stuff for the taste, but I genuinely think it could have been even much worse. Again, I wasn't expecting. I was expecting Watch Dogs 3 or the reboot that they're leaking about Splinter Cell, but they didn't show up. So
Well, at least you're more level-headed than those. Have you seen some of them? Do you see some people who claim that a conference is bad just because something they really wanted wasn't in it?
Yes.
well, to be fair, Dweebs, in the case of Microsoft, it kinda needs to be done, that argument, considering the thing that everybody wanted, actual console exclusives.
I meant like individual, just individual personal preference stuff.
So you mean like per se a complaint that Metroid Prime 4 wasn't shown? Is that what you mean?
Stuff like that. I mean, that game was only just announced, wasn't it? Relatively speaking.
True.
To be fair, though, Dweebs, it depends also on the circumstances of each game and the development tied to it. To give an example, again, the supposed medieval remake has literally no piece of news whatsoever.
And then, speaking of remakes, the Final Fantasy VII remake didn't show a lick. Like,
that was because it had. That's because apparently they had to start everything from scratch because of issues.
Yeah,
I know. I get that.
Has since spoken about the game on Famitsu in the recent weeks at the time of his recording.
I get that, but the fact that they didn't even mention it at all, though, was worrying.
I don't know, Jova. To be honest, in that kind of thing, it was pretty much a lose-lose situation. Either people would have got pissed that all they showed of the 7 remake was just some guy talking about it, or they get pissed because there was no mention of it.
Not just that, Jova, but even in general, the Square Enix conference was lackluster.
Yes, that's exactly my point. Objectively speaking, so much as talking about it would have added some much-needed meat to that E3's bones.
But whatever, I don't think
it's not like that conference was god awful or anything. It's
no,
just...
No. It was not god awful.
It was mostly redundant, but again, it's not a bad thing per se. It's just a thing. And honestly, to me, I wasn't that disappointed. Also, yeah, you cannot cut that man.
Well, that sucks. You can't even cut the guy free. You can't even cut the dead guy free from his
shackles.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dweebs, I get what you mean, but at the same time, that's the thing. It's a circumstance that needs analyze on subjectivity on the matters. So, if anything, it's a case-to-case situation.
Let's put a circumstance like this. Halo not being shown would have been a valid complaint because Halo is Microsoft's Mario. Now, we get that, they can't have it constantly, but if they say had no news whatsoever of the new Halo game, then we would have had problems. Like, that's exactly what I mean. It's like, well, maybe even show a trailer of the 7 remake or something. But, look, I'm not going to say that Square Enix's E3 was terrible, but it was
also technically new stuff, so...
But it was the second weakest E3 conference because of its lack of content. Because here's the problem with that E3. That was mainly just stuff we already knew was coming out. Not much new to go off on, and that did not instill a lot of confidence. Weird thing was how they ended in on Kingdom Hearts 3.
Whatever, Jova. The point of that, Jova, is that they're bum rushing it to the end, so they're showing all they can in the possible events even multiple times. The point being, for the Ubisoft conference, I was mostly okay with it. Could have been better, but also could have been worse, I guess.
True, yeah. Going back to talking about Ubisoft, to me, it was a weaker version of their E3 from last year. Essentially, it was a good E3, and shows that they are trying to make some changes. Unfortunately, though, this E3 had a lot more of the old quirks, like, again, the new Assassin's Creed game, which, let's be quite honest, has nothing Assassin's Creed gameplay-wise. Like, no parkour, none of the usual stuff. It looks like a fun game, but it's got no business calling itself an Assassin's Creed game. Which, again, makes you wonder, okay, can we bring back Prince of Persia then if you don't...
But the controls aren't needlessly complex. The controls aren't needlessly complex.
It's like I've said before, Joe. I seriously get the feeling that the Assassin's Creed development team genuinely wants to move on to different things, but Ubisoft executives won't allow them, so... Okay, fine, do what you want to do, and then we'll find a way to slap the Assassin's Creed logo on it for the sake of brand sales.
Pedro, I don't think you're too far off on that. My thought is like, well, yes, they want to basically just do the historical stuff, but without having that painfully dull modern timeline that, kind of connects everything together. So you'd think maybe just do the historical stuff and change up the gameplay, but no, for some reason this still needs to be Assassin's Creed.
Not just that, Jova, the way also they presented the trailer was very embarrassing with the whole... They literally entered the trailer with the strong independent woman smashing the big brute man's testicle with a mace. There's subtlety in vendors this.
Well, Tia, remember Ubisoft still are trying to make people forget that they themselves said that women are too hard to program.
I get it, but I know, whatever, it's...
I agree, though. I mean,
it's just
Ubisoft,
embarrassing.
it's great. You've got playable female characters. Just do stuff with that.
Not just that, Jova. I think Yotzi pointed out in his retrospective on the E3, one of the things about Odyssey is that Ubisoft proudly said about the possibility of being a female character. And then Yossi pointed out, well, they say the exact same thing when Syndicate came out. You cannot be redundant about this as a selling point.
I mean, like Sonic Boom the TV show said, when you keep making a big deal out of women's accomplishments, it kind of makes women feel mitigated at some point. Like, at some point, can't it just be normal?
Of all people.
Yeah, I love that show. But yeah, Ubi on a good direction, but I do have to wonder though if at some point we may or could finally just see a revival of Prince of Persia at this point if Assassin's Creed is
I'm
not doing
positive it will eventually happen. Eventually, I guess.
What annoyed me though was admittedly a sequel to The Division. Like, nobody
that was really unasked for. Like, again, I was expecting more Watch Dogs 3 over that because that wouldn't make sense. With Watch Dogs 2, we actually went in a direction to try to give an identity to the franchise, so you thought we would have done that, especially considering that no one really cared about The Division, sadly.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give Watch Dogs 2 credit. That sequel was coming off the heels of a very
also, I guess you can vouch for that too.
Yeah, I can.
All right.
Unfortunately, I don't have the game.
Well,
no, I was going to say, in terms of recording, I don't have the copy anymore. But I'm sure it will come onto PS Plus or something at some point.
Okay.
What? Ubisoft games
Ubisoft games tend to get really good sales on the PSN, Joe.
Yeah. Whatever,
I imagine that.
whatever. We kind of need to do the first game anyway at some point.
It's
so.
mostly
speaking
Yeah,
of
pretty much
Ubisoft,
Well, Pedro does, yeah.
pretty much pretty much most games on the PSN always get eventually get some really good sales. It's mostly Nintendo eShop that is very bad with sales, usually, especially in the first-party Nintendo games.
So there you go.
Nintendo.
For this set of rooms, Farah will help you out by shooting stuff off. That was uncalled for. We'll shoot things out to make a more clear path to you. In turn, you will have to activate switches and lever to make sure also air path is going to be clear. Again, helping each other. Only in this case, it's not on co-op. It's essentially you helping her so she can help you and vice versa.
Nice.
Which again, like, I'm surprised Ubisoft hasn't tried a proper co-op game like that. Like Assassin's Creed Syndicate and Brotherhood, by the time Brotherhood they tried to implement some minor co-op, but it was just as simple as you gain your allies when with the press of a button they help you from the side, and that was literally it. So
I think Syndicate would have done something with it, considering how they were both
brother and
the two
sister and
playable
stuff,
characters.
yeah, but no.
Maybe someday.
I mean, they have multiplayer games, of course. The old Tom Clancy repertoire has countless multiplayer stuff, like Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon, etc.
Well, hey, they got For Honor, another game which is definitely finally getting the love
Oh
it
yeah,
deserved.
definitely. Well, to be fair, Joe, I always had faith in the project. Even
Oh, I
though
know.
obviously
I'm
it
saying
had a
it's like
rocky
it had a
start
shaky
because of the online features. But now we have dedicated servers, so it's picking up. And with the new Chinese expansion, it's probably gonna be for the better.
Speaking of which, are we finally gonna get that one Assassin's Creed game that people have been asking for, but Ubisoft don't want to?
Not in a million years, at least not for now.
Because nothing ever historically amazing happened in Japan.
To be fair, Java, we're kind of getting that already with Ghost of Tsushima, so...
So I guess Ubisoft are pretty much giving up on it now because Sony's beating them to it.
Or we want to wait until the area is more clear. Remember, thanks to Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, Nioh 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, Japanese samurai games are seeing a resurgence, basically. Because by the time of the early PS3 days, they kind of died out. So with this, now instead they're making a comeback, so I guess Ubisoft wants to wait until the market is clear a bit more.
See, the problem with Ubisoft is
Assassin's Creed in Japan would work more like for a ninja game. So I guess they could do, especially considering Taiwan Koei hasn't done a Ninja Gaiden game in years anyway, so...
Yeah, see, the thing with Ubisoft is this. Okay, sometimes they don't do something. The problem is the excuse they make up, so it really seems embarrassing when they eventually
they have
do it.
really bad PR response for stuff.
For example, we won't put in a female character because they're too hard to program, even though we had one for Liberation. Oh, we can't make Tetris work properly because you have too many friends on the PSN. And now,
By the way,
of course,
can you please subscribe yourself to Uplay? Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And third and finally, we can't have an Assassin's Creed game taking place in Japan because we can't think of any really amazing historical points to really build off of.
Not just that, Joe, but remember, they kind of said it in, they kind of lampshade it in the story of, I think it's Assassin's Creed 4? Either 4 or Unity, one of the games where you work when you are the worker at Abstergo. Basically, you kind of spy on a meeting from one of your superiors, which are consulting on the perspective of using the animals for future projects. And at some point, I think the female lead of the companies ask, why not? The Fate of Japan is being requested, and the other guy says something like, oh no, we kind of need something that has more good potential set pieces, or something like that. By the way, that guy gets killed in Watch Dogs in a side mission, just to let you know.
Because reminder, Watch Dogs is in the same universe as Assassin's Creed.
And Far Cry, apparently. Far Cry 3 and 4. I think go by.
Okay. Trying to install Far Cry into that kind of universe, okay, that's a bit of a problem because Far Cry is, kind of more a what if the world was freaking insane kind of thing. So it doesn't really fit in with the likes of Watch Dogs.
I mean, up until 5, it kind of fit anyway, because it was very isolated locales that had no real big repercussion on the entire war. But 5 went full blown out with the whole America having these racial cult.
5 was pretty much Bioshock Infinite, but if the racist people stuck around.
To be fair, Joe, I have no idea what direction is Ubisoft going on with Far Cry in general, so...
It just makes me wonder why they bothered to make that canon.
Whatever, maybe just recon it as a simple Easter egg anyway.
Anyway, we got 150 SAM
Remember,
credits.
you use those to unlock extras on the main menu, but again, I'm not gonna show them because they're not really that worthy to be seen. I mean, they're good pieces of concept arts, but they're just that. The only real extra that they show are a couple of mini-seconds videos that, similar to our Rabbids game, to be fair, it's a thing that it's a bit out of place. They have some kind of bloopers, fake bloopers, in this. In a sense that we get some minor cutscene of situation where the prince should do stuff, but something like he trips down. You'll see for yourself at the end of the playthrough anyway. It was a bit weird. I wish we had instead development interviews like we had with the first game. Those were more interesting and it showcased the dominant content and stuff like that. Particularly considering this game had such a troubled development cycle and was rebranded multiple times. So I guess it's a bit of a wasted potential.
Alas.
Basically what we need to do now is to let Farah progress, but in order to do so we need to take one of the boxes, but again, like a dipshit, I forgot where it was. Again, by the time I recorded this game, it was really a long time since I also played it, so bear with me. There you go, that's where it is. And by taking this, the stack falls, which allows Farah to progress.
Lovely.
There we go.
I've forgotten. Sorry, I've forgotten. She was in the first game, wasn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just for a quick recap, please remember, since the events of the first game have been retconned by the actions of the prince, she doesn't know who he is anymore. Basically, history is being kind of reset on this part, so he's rebuilding his relationship with her from the get-go.
Honestly, if I don't know any better, this kind of feels like the second game was retconned.
Sadly,
nah.
it doesn't. That's the problem, Dweebs. The first game was retconned because of the second game. By removing Kairina from the Island of Time, it created a divergence in history. Basically, remember, originally, the Maharaja got the Hourglass of Time and the Dagger of Time from the Island of Time, where his expedition went and see what we could find. However, with Kaina gone, the sands never formed in the first place, which also meant that Akkad was dead, basically got killed by a paradox as a result. But the Vizier still took the dagger and the empty hourglass for himself. And as soon as the prince reached back again his own time with Kailina, this activated kind of like a mechanism with the dagger kind of telling the Vizier, as he told, oh, okay. He told, basically, he prompted him to take action and find himself at the point where Kailina would arrive so he could gain the sense again. Basically, change the mechanism. Also, those eyes, Jesus.
Know what is good for you, say no.
Basically, here's the problem. Some people are in danger, but the prince thinks that he should not waste time on this. But Farah disagrees.
For her life. She said there were others.
No, we can afford no more delays.
Good. Put her in her place.
That's definitely nice.
You are their prince. And yet you would leave them to suffer?
That man has taken everything from me.
Dude.
And now that I have the opportunity to punish him,
You sure you'll be able to punish him with him being
Have you
OP
forgotten
like
what
that?
he did to you?
Well, you will find a way.
But I...
You are burdened by a guilty conscience, Farah. He made you watch as your people suffered, unable to aid them. You are not to blame. Do not let it cloud your judgment.
That's a
It's not
bullshit
I who
excuse and you
cloud
know
your
it.
judgment.
Yeah.
You may choose not to help them, but you can't...
So there you go, temporary separation.
I go to kill the Vizier, to end this, while you run about applying
This will
bandages
end
to
it.
Rex's wounds.
Good riddance. She has been nothing but a distraction.
Uh-oh.
Hooray!
Slowing
You.
us down.
That hair animation is just.
Also the back, he kind of had like a lump on his back. Again, this fort is not as bad as Warrior Within, but it still shows the hiccups. But the prince, his art is too good, so he wants to go back in Farah. Which
right.
we'll see happen.
No, wait, I'll come back, please.
Which will happen in the next part, basically. But again, the dark side is mumbling like an old fool, but again, the priest is in control. Also, it's overlapping, oh god.
Do you mind? I'm trying to tell the story here.
At least now he thought of
And then
something
another
else.
narrator stepped in to tell the story.
I forgot what film was that?
Rockadoodle.
Oh, right. I've never
Alright,
seen that
see you
one.
for the next part.
See ya.
Alright,
See ya.
see ya.